Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to this week's local marketing and SEO Q&A session here at Local Marketing Institute. As always, Ben Fisher, Jason Brown, and I are here, but we are very thrilled to have our special guest, Cindy Crum with Mobile Moxie here today. Hi, Cindy. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. We're fantastic. We're really thrilled to have you here today. Excited to dive in and start answering your guys' questions that you have on digital marketing for local businesses. Before we do, though, just want to go through a few little quick housekeeping. First of all, here's some contact information. If you want to get a hold of Ben, Jason, or Cindy, there's their website addresses and also their Twitter handles. Before we dive any further, though, I know, Cindy, Ben wanted to ask you, how did you get your Twitter handle? If you can answer that real quickly.
I'm dying to know. Come on.
Yeah. So it's been my screen name my whole life. It was the first screen name I ever used with the AOL CDs that they used to mail.
No way, back in AOL?
Yeah. And so it's pronounced, lots of people pronounce it Sussex, but it's actually pronounced Sussex. I decided the spelling when I was 9. And
love it.
The reason is because as a kid, I really loved Dr. Seuss. And so my parents would call me Seuss and as like a pet name. And it just kind of evolved to Sussex. And Sussex was the one that they used the most. So.
Right.
There you go, Ben. There's your answer,
cool.
my friend.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, if you are joining us and you don't happen to be know Local Marketing Institute all that well, please go out to our website, localmarketinginstitute.com. Lots of good stuff there. All of our recordings from all of our sessions are out there. Sign up for our email newsletter so you get the invites to these sessions and a lot of other things. If you're not yet, subscribe to our podcast. All these sessions are available on all the major podcasting platforms, so please go out there and do that. And then make sure you join our Facebook group, Local Marketing Institute Connect. Tons of amazing people on there, some of the best local marketers in the world. And it's one of these groups that actually is very professional and very helpful. You're not going to get hit up with spam. You're not going to get hit up with all these questionable tactics. We've kept it intentionally smaller because we just don't want all that junk out there. So come on out. It's for business owners. It's for local marketers. But it's really, I think, one of the best groups out there on Facebook. So come check that out. Go to localmarketinginstitute.com. And that's enough of the other announcements. I want to dive in here. And Cindy, I want to just talk with you a little bit. First of all, tell us a little bit about what you do. And then what are the biggest things you're tracking right now with digital marketing or SEO when it comes to local businesses? What's kind of got your attention right now?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the CEO of a company called Mobile Moxie. We're based in Denver, Colorado, but we have employees all over the place. And we've always been 100% remote. So COVID hasn't been that big of an impact, at least on our day-to-day. But we specialize in mobile SEO and app SEO. And we've been around since 2008. So that's some good staying power at this point. And it's because everyone on the team just absolutely loves it and finds everything really interesting and exciting. We also have a really cool tool set that focuses on mobile SEO and how things really look on different phones from different locations, stuff like that. So I know I've heard real SEOs on the speaking circuit suggesting that people like walk around with their phones and do searches to see how they change. Please don't do that. Just use my tools. There's a free version. You can set it not just to a city or a postcode or zip code, but down to a specific address. And in the paid version, you can do that address, and we do radiuses out from that address to show you a real live search result. Yeah, that's a picture of it. Yeah, so that's an example where like, what's the best ramen in Tokyo? So from wherever you are, you can actually see the live results. So it'll even show if things are closed or open. It's not a simulation. Google thinks we're phones. We're very clever. They just, with all the searches, they don't notice us. So So, and I'm super excited about that because it's been growing. The interest in that has been growing. More and more SEOs and especially local SEOs love that. And in the paid version, we parse the whole SERP and let you claim things, which is a new concept, but I think it's revolutionary in SEO. And so this kind of answers your question about what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is that SEOs aren't getting credit for everything that they're doing because a lot of SEO happens off of your main domain. And just having a good brand presence, you have things happening on lots of different domains. If you have your main domain, Facebook, your GMB, Twitter, some YouTube videos, and let's say you're in a couple top 10 lists or a couple must-see lists, that's all really good work that you should claim as a success. But traditional SEO is so focused on the one domain and how is the one domain doing, but all of those things help you sell. And in fact, some businesses may not have a website, may not need a website. If they're doing great on GMB and Facebook and YouTube, or, it's more of a thing where you can pick your mix. And then in our tools, we just parse the whole SERP and we let you claim it and say, this is me, this is me, this is me. And then we remember that for all future search. So it's kind of like a learning thing where over time you claim, and then every time the tool runs a search, it knows what's already you. And we can run those searches from anywhere, daily, weekly, or monthly, capture the visual and the parsed results. So I did that because I think it's going to be a fundamental shift in how we do SEO as Google claims more and more of the real estate. We're fighting for less and less. We have to fight harder and we have to be more clever. And so, for instance, in terms of being clever, why aren't more SEOs out there saying that if you do a YouTube video, it gets to cut in line? It absolutely does. It doesn't have to work its way up. It just shows up at the top. So that's a marketing tactic. And I think that it's at this point a disservice, especially in mobile, to not at least acknowledge that there are ads in there too, and that there's knowledge graph potentially. And all of those stuff push any ranking map or GMB or website way down. So our tools actually also track the percent of the SERP that you own, and the pixel height of each ranking, because position 1 keeps getting lower and lower. And so you can't feel as good about position 1.
I was going to say, I love what you're saying here, because I think this is very important for a lot of businesses to understand your entire digital footprint as a business, that it includes your website, it includes your Google My Business listing, it includes your social media profiles, it includes your ads, right? All those things are your overall footprint of your business, and that's going to lead to more new customers, more repeat customers. And I think that's what you're saying here, that's kind of what you've designed your tool to do, is also to kind of help you better track that overall digital footprint, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a business owner, it helps you track it. And if you're an SEO or an agency, it helps you get credit for it. Because I'm on the SEO side, and I'm tired of me and my friends not getting credit for really great work, like getting a placement in a top 10 list or something like that. If that top 10 list outranks your website, it might be, a small sadness, but not a big sadness, right? Like, that's great.
Yeah.
So 2 questions.
So go ahead, Ben.
All right. Thank you. So 2 questions. All right, Cindy. So first of all, thank you. That's freaking amazing. I haven't used the tool myself, by the way, so I'm kind of speaking a little bit from ignorance here, but don't hate me, okay? But it sounds to me like that the tools that the tool that you've created actually kind of complements and supplements some of the other tools that are out there, right? Yes. Especially the GMB specific ones.
Yes.
And then I think I'm not going to name names, but some of the larger players out there that are tracking multiple different things, like you said, as you claim, right, as your own. But it sounds like it's because you're running on like a daily scan or a weekly scan, or right, not just a monthly scan, which most of these tools do.
Right. Yes, exactly. Supplemental, we're not trying to replace anyone. And we're meant for people, it can be for solo business owners or small teams, but also expands to really big teams. So for instance, all of our tools have a CSV component where you can download and upload CSVs to get words into the tools. So words or locations or what have you, URLs, whatever you're tracking. Because we have two tools, and the Pagescope will track just URLs to see how they look. But you can just upload a CSV. And that's because we know everyone's already got tools that's going to give them, the long list of keywords that they want to track, or their top pages that they want to track. Or, they have a CSV, hopefully, of all their locations. So it's pretty scalable not meant to replace anything.
Right on. And just out of curiosity, Eric, I got one more question. That is so, I in my past, at least, I've tried to do a lot of visionary things and like looking really forward, way too far in the future. Right. And some have been miserable failures. And it sounds to me like, 2008, mobile wasn't really on many people's radar at that time. Right. Google hadn't really even come out with the whole mobile first indexing, if I believe, at that time. And they didn't even have the mobile first initiative at that time.
No. It was still .mobies back then. And I actually started focusing on mobile before I started my own company. So I started speaking about it in 2005. And that's when we were still on BlackBerries with the primarily text-based internet. And so I was helping people optimize for that. So I've been around, and I think that's part of what it takes to be able to see the future, is to really have lived through the past and say, I've been through this routine before, or, Google's been through this routine before, and to get the wider perspective of Google doesn't get it right every time too. And they're constantly like doing a change and then figuring out that it's overcorrected and having to launch another change to fix that. And it's a constant battle. And we work with, because I was such an early mover, we've had the pleasure of working with some of the biggest brands in the world. And even though they're big and have money and teams of developers, they're usually steered and decisions are made more like a super tanker. Like they're not nimble. So they would tell us, we can't make all these changes this week or this month, maybe not for 2 years. Is it worth, or at least a year? Is it worth it to keep this on the backlog? Or is there something more important, or what can we plan for, kind of thing? So that's what forced me. I was already looking forward because of mobile, and then having those kinds of clients who also didn't have they had enough value to hire me, but that was it. So taking my advice was not often the top priority. They got me on board. They're like, that's good enough. Do your magic. And I'm like, I have no magic. You have to do everything. I'll tell you what to do, but you have to do it.
So we've got Michael on Facebook has said how much he loves Mobile Moxie. He's only tried the free version yet, but he wants to check it out. He's having a few little tech issues. We told him to get a hold of your support team, because we've heard it. I know it's pretty good. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know you've got some fans out there.
Oh, thank you.
On this.
Yeah, and if you like the free tool, the paid one's going to blow you away.
So anything else in the kind of the local marketing space that you want to recommend? I love, if nothing else, guys, take away from this what Cindy is saying, look at your digital footprint as a whole. Whether you use Cindy's tool or look at it manually, look at it as a whole. And it's not just about GMB. GMB is still very important. It's still 800-pound gorilla in the room, no doubt, but you got to look at your entire footprint. So take that away. But is there anything else that you want to kind of throw out that you're following?
Yes, actually, there's so many things. I get so excited about all of these things, but people have kind of lost faith in voice as a thing, and it got overhyped too early, for sure. But it's going to be a thing, and it's going to be important. And I can give you an analogy. Who here knows, their best friend's phone number? maybe one or two of us, but I'll tell you that it's not me. I do not know my best friend's phone number. The reason is I don't have to. My phone knows it. And we've gotten to a point where we don't even think about trying to remember a phone number. And that's starting to happen in our media consumption, where I don't know if you guys have the voice-enabled remotes, but I can just push a button on my TV remote and tell it to change to MSNBC or you know, whatever. So do I know what channel is MSNBC? No. Even though I watch it, you know, primarily, or, you know, if I'm switching between, I'm a news junkie, CNN or MSNBC or others. But do I know the channels? No. I also watch Food Network. Do I know the channel number? No, because I don't have to. And so it's little steps like that you don't notice, but that are going to be monumental because you don't notice them. You're going to look back and go, oh, that's, you know, that was kind of the start of the change. And most people don't know this, but if you have a Google Home or any of the Google Assistant devices, and you have a Chromecast, you can also just like walk through a room and yell, hey, Google, turn on the TV, or hey, Google, change the channel, and it will. But sometimes it prefers, and this is where it's sneaky. Sometimes it'll change the channel on cable. Sometimes it'll just show you clips from YouTube. And they want people to stay in their property, so they want people to be in YouTube. And as long as it's live TV, the user doesn't care. And so it's those things where Google's sneakily trying to keep you on their property or engaged in their world. And it's so useful and handy, like especially if you've lost the remote, that no one's arguing.
Yeah, I think local voice search is indeed it's one of those things it did get overhyped, but it is still continuing to sneak up on you. If you don't mind, I'm going to share this real quick because I totally agree with you. And Cindy, I'd love to maybe have you take a look at this sometime. So we actually have this guide out here on optimizing for local voice search on Alexa, Siri, Google, and Cortana. I also think it's important to note that, interestingly enough, I mean, the last data, where was the data here? This is 2019, so it's a little old right now, but at that point, actually, Google Assistant was only 36% market share. Siri was 36%, and then Alexa and Cortana, of all things, had a 19% market share. So bottom line, and I think
data is that? I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, well, the study was by Microsoft, so God knows how they may have done that.
And it was 2019.
It's the best. Yeah, it was 2019, so this may all have changed. But all that, I think, being said, you're right on. Voice search is sneaking up on people, and anyway, go check this out. I'd love for you to review this with me sometime. We'll update it, and I'll give you some shout outs in here as well, because I think that it is. I agree with you. It's sneaking up on folks here.
My take on voice really quickly is that I think voice is going to be more adopted by millennials and those who are even younger than millennials. You know, at all of our ages, right? Most of the population, and Maya I think just made this comment in chat. You know, we're very afraid of our privacy, right, being violated. And there have been a lot of things news-wise that have happened over the last year, you know, where they found out, I believe it was Google, where they were saying, you know, they were recording conversations and that there were people, the contractors were listening to those conversations, transcribing them, et cetera. I mean, this is, of course, what they do for machine learning. But still, it was a lot of information was kind of unraveling, should never been recorded in the first place. You know, like an argument between a husband and a wife, you know. So I think there's a barrier of entry to voice, and that barrier of entry is we're just not used to it. It is convenient, and it's going to get to I think eventually, maybe 5-10 years from now, it might get to a point where it's like, well, not 5-10 years, maybe 5 years, where you have one search result. And that's
Well,
basically it.
already that's true.
Yeah.
Already that's true. If you ask, so one of the things that I use my Google Home for the most, I have a dog and the dog always wants my food. So I'll just walk, as I'm in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner and the dog's begging for scraps, I'll say, okay, Google, can dogs eat avocados? And it just reads you a result. It reads you the featured snippet. It doesn't give you 10 options. It doesn't give you any options.
I'll tell you one last thing I'll say, Eric, really quick and Cindy, is that I remember it was a couple of years ago, actually. It was like me, Mark Treckbagan, and a whole bunch of us, like in the G+ days. We tried some stuff early on with voice search, and we asked a very simple question, and that is how far away is the sun? Okay. And Google came back with the first response, which was the rich snippet, which basically was completely wrong. And it was like, it interpreted the sun as Alpha Centauri. And so what we did is we gathered a group of about 60 people. And what we did is we tried to train Google for 30 days. And we would say, no, Google, you're wrong. And then we would prompt it again with the sun is actually X miles or kilometer or whatever away, right? For 2 days, the result actually changed, where it didn't actually say what was the first Google search result, but what we had actually trained it to do. So that was an interesting test.
Yeah, well, and that's, training AIs. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Well, hey, do you guys feel up to answering some questions? We got tons of questions people submitted in advance. We got lots of questions coming in over this here. And so, by the way, a couple of cool things here that just to brought out. David said that he's seen numerous search queries that, in his clients' Google Search Console data that start with "OK Google," and then, which I think is funny. And then, of course, May brings up the classic Saturday Night Live, Amazon Echo Silver skit. If you have never seen that one, that is absolutely hilarious. But I think voice search is becoming a huge thing. But let's dive into some people's questions here, if you guys are up for that. Ben, I think you had someone write in saying, ask about the new service area and hybrids not showing up in the Google 3-pack. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that is? And I'll share your tweet.
Yeah, go for it. So we, meaning the product experts, had a meeting with Google this morning. And so I kind of put out this little do not panic alert. Basically, the 3-pack right now and Local Finder is no longer going to show the address, the full address in the GMB listing. Instead, it's just going to show what the service area is. Now, this is only applying to businesses that are hybrid, meaning that they're showing their address and they have service areas designated, or they're a pure service area based business where they're not showing their address at all. And then Jason actually noticed something really cool, which is that it's also showing the located in, which I'm going to throw it over to him to actually talk about that.
Yeah, so this goes into the whole, what Cindy was talking about, but monitoring your brand and paying attention. So for this example, for this Littleton Ace hardware, it just shows Littleton, CO, and then it says in sports clip picture Southbridge Plaza. Now this is the name of a permanently closed sports clip. And so unfortunately, this business got associated with being inside another business. And so, this is, kind of the intended purpose for what located in is so that you can let people know if you are really truly located inside a store. So say you are, a home installation company inside of Best Buy or Geek Squad inside of Best Buy, or if you just want to say we are located in this shopping center because your shopping center actually has a knowledge panel. So that's what the whole purpose of located in. But we have also seen some major issues, and Greg Gifford, had a bunch of issues with car dealerships where Google was inappropriately associating the wrong located in. So they were making the the repair shop the main primary, and then putting the dealership inside the repair shop. So it's just one of those other things that you do need to, keep an eye on. You definitely need to be monitoring your profile and yeah.
Well, it's like anything with Google, right? Google My Business. It's like keep an eye on your profile and fix things that are wrong.
Right. So this probably ties in with a question that was submitted from Al earlier this week. He said, I'm seeing something in my search results. I'm doing some spam fighting of some roofing companies in Vancouver, British Columbia, and found that Google is now showing for addresses things like located in New Look Business Center Limited. Did I miss something? Is it now okay for businesses to have virtual offices as their business address? And I don't think this has anything to do with virtual offices. I think this has to do with what you guys are talking about, the same thing, right? A business being located inside of something else. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So basically, actually, you know what? Might as well bring up another piece of news that happened this week. And that is Google Google My Business updated their guidelines actually about co-working spaces. Similar to virtual offices. Oh, yeah. And it's actually not an update to the guidelines. It is a clarification of the guidelines. It's always been this way. So a lot of people are kind of freaking out going, oh my God, I can't have a service area based business in a co-working space. Well, sorry, you couldn't have it before anyway. So you haven't lost anything. So it's just nice that GMB is being a little bit more clarifying on that. And
they talked more about the co-working spaces out here. I forget the exact place.
Yeah, you'd have to go down to addresses.
Go up.
Up. Hit learn.
Up, and
you gotta hit learn more.
Yeah, learn more. Up.
Address.
Oh, sorry, there we go. Sorry.
Learn more.
This is like someone watching you driving and trying to coach you.
Go down. Co-working.
There we go. Service area, the storefront versus service area. All right. Anyway, bottom line. What in a nutshell? What did they clarify?
In a nutshell, all they did was they basically said, "Look, if you're in a co-working space, you better have an office. Period.
An actual office that is staffed by your own staff.
Right. Exactly.
With signage.
With signage showing the hours. Well, yes, and showing the hours. That you're actually there. Right. So it's the same thing as a virtual office, basically. To answer the question, the located in is, doesn't have if they're located in a virtual office, then they may actually have an executive office, or they might just, be basically just in with 400 other lawyers. Look at the address, look at the suite number, see how many people pop up there, how many companies pop up there. If you see more than say 2 or 3, probably going to be virtual office. Also, I know Jason loves to do this, and I do too. And that is we love to mark businesses as inside of a virtual office before we destroy them.
Yeah. And
some fun comments coming through.
Wait, hold on real quick. And then also, and Sarah Bloxage just tweeted that she saw it too, and it's going to make spam fighting like that much easier for us, because now we'll know, when a business is actually in a co-working space instead of having to do that, address search. So SEO community is loving it. It's going to be great for spam fighting and for, keeping crap off the map. So yay.
And one thing I do want to tell everybody, by the way, is that the policy team over at GMB did see all of the activity on Twitter, and they saw how people reacted to that update, and they loved it. So just know that that when you're talking on Twitter, the people over GMB are actually watching.
Yeah. They're watching me. Am I getting in trouble right now?
Oh, they've got a hidden camera in your office.
They already know everything about you, Cindy.
Don't report me. I'm doing good things. Fire me.
But Cindy, you have Google Home, so they're listening to you.
I know. So I just said they can acquire me. Just reach out.
Exactly. Well, so Bara asks a really good question. Says, okay, if the located in is wrong, how do you go about changing it? Do you work directly with support? Is there a way to report it in the GMB tool?
Yeah, it used to be that you could actually just do suggest and edit and update it live on Google. We noticed that it wasn't really working for like the last several months. And so I just been directing people to just go directly to GMB chat support. You can either do the chat, the phone, or email, and let the representatives take care of it. It's easy enough for them to do. The only thing is, I said, if it is chat, and I had an issue earlier this week where I literally sat on chat for 45 minutes until they said, you know what, we're going to need to email you back or call you back because it's just going to take much longer, depending on, because sometimes I have to get an engineer to go in and fix some of these issues. So if it's a quick fix, they'll take care of it, but yeah, just go to support.
Awesome. We got lots of questions coming in, guys. So I know you're some in chat here in Zoom, some in the Q&A, some on Facebook. So we're going to try to get to as many of these as we possibly can. Hang in there. Here's an interesting question. I don't know, Cindy, if you have some experience with Yext, or if not, Jason, I know you do. But this question came in from Daniel. It says, I currently am using Yext, but I think I may want to stop using them. Will my business listings revert to their old settings when I stop paying Yext?
That's
JB, you want to tackle this, or Cindy, you want to tackle that one?
No, it's a Jason question.
Okay.
So my question is going to be this: why are you using Yext? What's the value that you're getting out of it? Because people only think of Yext in the terms of just citations, and I'm like, there's so much more that you get for Yext with that citation service. So you get review monitoring, you get alert updates about duplicates, you get alert updates about pending edits. There's a whole analytics dashboard that you can actually get in and access. And so because of the API with GMB, you can actually get your data going back 18 months, which is really easy to do. So you can play around, do different graphs and charts, and it's really great for more robust, enhanced reporting. So don't just think of Yext as just citation. Look at all the other options that they have. They have a lot of great stuff there that can make you a better marketer. I mean, when we set up Yext and I started looking at the reviews, and next thing you know, our companies, set up review monitoring and replies. And so our company was actually able to increase our revenue just because of moving from Moz Local to Yext. Now, there's a lot of wives' tales out there that, Yext, unlocks your listings. There's no lock on any listings. Any users can go to any platform to just edit. It's just Yext alerts you that there's an update so you can accept it or reject it. Now, that being said, remember, citations is a living, breathing ecosystem. So every platform is collecting and parsing data back and forth. So yes, if one citation gets messed up, chances are very high and likely that it's going to have mitigating impact on other listings. So for example, Yelp passes data to Apple Maps and to Yahoo and to Bing. And we just saw, this morning that Yelp is actually pushing menus onto Bing listings, right? So you got to think about the ecosystem, and it's not just, okay, I turned off Yext and now everything's going to revert back. If users are going out there and doing suggested edits, and we see a bunch of suggested edits in GMB, look, people are always trying to update and correct data anytime they think that it's wrong. And sometimes the data that people suggested actually was correct, and we had to go back in and adjust our CRM. So that's my answer.
One quick statement on this, Eric. All right. So I did a lot of research on Yext when I was looking at citation providers and thinking if we were going to even add citations to our lineup. And I sat down with somebody with Yext, and I asked this question point blank. Now, filtering out what they told me from a sales standpoint, basically, they do pay some of these places, like they pay the aggregators, for instance, they pay some other locations. So what ends up happening is once you cancel with Yext, I believe, is that they stop paying these places. So it's not that Yext pulls the data, it's just they're no longer managing it, basically.
Right.
So I think that, Jason's points are 100% valid, right? If you need all of those things, then keep Yext. I mean, it's expensive, right? Or migrate away after you cancel and sign up with somebody like a White Spark or a Bright Local, et cetera, where you have 100% control over your listings, and they give you an email address with a password that they used to manipulate the data. in your favor. And now you have control of it. You own the listings. With Yext, you're renting.
Yeah, I think that's what my experience has been as well, is that Yext doesn't go back and just revert your listings to the way they found them as a punishment because you're no longer using them or anything like that. They literally are just no longer actively managing the listings and alerting you to those listings. And so those listings can just begin to just migrate into what those certain citations are finding from other data sources or suggestions from users. So bottom line, I think it's still important to manage your citations, and to keep that consistency out there. Not necessarily going to help your GMB rank, but it's going to help with all those other things that are out there, whatever that's worth. And although I don't want to dive.
Yext does tie into voice search, though. That is
Yext does tie into voice search. Yext will directly submit to Alexa for mobile businesses. If you don't do it, though, that's okay. Alexa will still grab their information from Yelp. So that's just a little side note for there.
I'll throw one other side note, and I'm not sure, I haven't done this recently, but it used to be that there's a submission page out there for Apple Maps. Have you guys done this, used it? You just submit a CSV of all of your locations, and then you're in Apple Maps. It's not magic over there.
Yeah,
wow, that sounds easy to manipulate.
Well, yes, but there's also a lot of junk on Apple Maps that people that have created fraudulent listings on Yelp that got through. But yeah, you can also do the suggest and edit feature directly on Apple Maps, and I've had to do that many a times for franchises that I work with.
I would love to see, actually, now I don't have an iPhone, but I would love to see if you type in cheap car insurance in California, like to see all the freaking fake listings probably popping up on Apple Maps.
This is going to be really interesting. If all the scuttlebutt out there is true that Apple actually is looking to launch its own search engine to compete against Google, that's going to be really interesting. I mean, it'll be interesting scuttlebutt. We'll see. Anyway, side note, for those of you who are interested out there, we do have a guide on how to claim and optimize your Apple Maps listing. And it is through Apple Maps Connect. So Cindy, you're right on that front. All right, let's take a look here. What else we got? Oh, this is a fun one. JB, let's start with you on this one here. Let me share my screen. What kind of listing is this? We had someone write in and say, hey, I just found this listing. He's like, what is this? This doesn't look like a normal Google My Business website. What is this listing?
First,
this is for Merino painting.
Okay, yeah. First, we need to state that Google is always in a state of testing, and they are testing everything. So they do more A/B testing than everything we do. So yeah, so this is, I think Ben can give better time frame of when this first started rolling out. Like, I think it was summertime, last July, June, July.
Longer.
Oh, longer than that? These are a special project with Google where they're just doing more in an advanced listing. So it's like, basically it's your GMB free Google website on steroids. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that this merchant is actually being compensated by Google to create this listing. So
actually, other way around, Google is compensated by the merchant.
Yeah.
Merchant's paying them.
This is actually local service ads, right? And Tom just said they're specific to a Google Ads. Oh no, they're supposed to a Google Ads campaign.
So is it an LSA landing page for people who don't have websites?
Crap, bring Tom in.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me see if I can bring Tom in. Tom, you want to come in? Hang on here. I'll see if I can bring Tom in. I didn't know Tom was on with us. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right, Tom.
Smart campaigns like old AdWords Express.
All right, Tom. Boy, we're bringing you on, my friend. We have Tom Waddington joining us here.
Tom, tell us, dude, what is this?
Yeah, so these are from smart campaigns, which I don't ever use, but like AdWords Express, what it it used to be called AdWords Express. You're able to basically create a campaign that utilizes your GMB listing, and it basically morphs your listing into this format specifically for these ads. So you might see an ad, just a regular Google ad in the search results with a link to one of these, and it's built from one of these smart campaigns.
Interesting.
But it's not. It's
So
not
is this so Tom? Is this separate from the GMB website, or is it an enhanced GMB website? Is this something that the ads team just did that almost kind of competes with the GMB website?
Well, it's definitely built off of that, like Jason was saying. So it's utilizing that information and content from your listing to generate basically a website that's similar looking to like the GMB website. It's a little different, but it was similar looking format.
Got it. Well,
Interesting.
Glad you were on, Tom.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it, but I know that that's where that comes from.
Sounds great. Well, we'll hope to have you on here sometime here soon. We can talk more about this and more about local services ads sometime here soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Enjoying it.
Hey, thanks for
Jumping
Tom.
on.
Yeah, and just so everybody who knows or doesn't know, Tom Waddington is the LSA whisperer. I mean, he is our go-to resource. He knows everything about LSAs. So he's a great. I
mean, he knows a ton about a ton, but local service ads, he is the guru on that front.
So he is the go-to resource for every single one of us product experts.
All right. Well, this has been a fun session. I'm enjoying this. All right, so that's what that listing is. That's interesting. Hey, Cindy, here's a great one from you from our good friend Andy Simpson. He wants to know what led to you creating Mobile Moxie. Was this something that was kind of in-house for your agency that you just decided to productize? And where do you see this kind of going in the future?
Yeah, so it was a tool that I just wanted to use that didn't exist, and it seemed like something that was important. You know, people weren't talking about mobile, but it seemed like something that was important, and I needed a tool for testing. I had a lot of international clients, in some cases, international clients in regulated industries. So I needed to see how a website ranked. And in some cases, we were actually trying to de-optimize some things from ranking where they shouldn't be ranking. But then we also needed to see how the landing page looked. Did it have the right warnings, age gates, stuff like that? So it's a really complex SEO set of requirements to get things to rank in the right places and not rank in the wrong places. So we just built the tool out of that need. And then quickly I was like, well, you know, why not make it available to everyone else? Because, you know, I'll find out if other people find it useful.
Great. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I've played with Mobile Moxie, but I haven't dived real deep into it. I'm gonna have to get in deeper on it because I think it sounds fascinating. How it's
Did we already agree on a promo code? I can't remember.
Did we agree on a promo code? If you got a promo code,
you have a promo code. They
give me the promo code.
The requirement is it can't just be 3 letters. It has to be 5. So we're gonna make it LSIMM.
Well, I'll tell you what, send me the promo code via email and send me the promo code via email. And when we send out the link to the recording to our email newsletter and our social group, we'll put the promo code in there.
No, I thought it would be MM is free. That's all.
Yeah.
No, LMIMM works.
So there you go. LMIMM.
All right, 30 days to play with.
Awesome. Sounds
nice. I do have one question about the tool. Can I ask one question about the tool?
Yeah, sorry.
Cindy, does the tool, is it like a parametric type of tool where it's analyzing results, it's analyzing competitors and gives you ideas on what you can do to improve?
It doesn't give you the ideas, but one of the good things about the tool is you can be anyone you want to be. We do have the ability to integrate Search Console, but it's not required to have a good experience with the tool. So all you have to do is put in your keywords and claim to be whoever you want to be. So we can set up campaigns for entire industries where you want to do all these keywords and, you know, claim this set of companies that you care about. and then you get a sense for the whole industry. Or you can just set up a separate, if you pay for the right level of membership, you can have separate client accounts for each of your competitors and watch and track how they do on all the different keywords and claim their stuff for them, because it's only in our little universe that it's claimed. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's also true. That's true with all of our tools, actually. They work great for spying as well as actively managing.
Nice.
Very cool.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump into some other questions here. I know it's quarter till. We got about 10 more minutes worth of questions we can answer. I'm going to try to get through as many as we can. Lightning round. All right. Let's throw this out and start this with Ben. Should I link to my GMB website from ads, my social media, and from my GMB listing? I heard this helps improve my ranking.
If they mean the free GMB website,
that's what they mean. The free GMB website you can build in Google My Business.
I can't see any harm in it, and I think with anything else, you'd probably want to test it. Because if you're linking to it in your ads, I mean, it's a landing page. But the thing is you're not going to get any analytics out of it, though. You won't know if somebody called you unless even doesn't matter. Even if you have a call tracking number, it's just going to be a GMB lead. So you wouldn't know.
You won't.
So, however, I will say this, tossing a link at a GMB website, good idea, because the GMB website functions like an additional citation. So if you can get it to rank for your brand name, pop. And you should be absolutely monitoring that inside of Mobile Moxie.
Yeah.
Jason? Yeah, absolutely you should. Jason?
No, I wouldn't. I would have a strategic landing page with call to actions, because you're trying to capture, a lead or get a sale or get them to fill something out. So, you're going to have a much better user experience having, a landing page on your website than sending it to GMB for your website.
This is what I typically recommend, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Cindy, jump in. Feel free. I'll take correction gladly. I typically tell businesses, hey, absolutely create your GMB website. It doesn't hurt anything, and it's another citation that you have for your business. If you want to put a link on your website somewhere to your GMB listing to more easily connect it to, that's fine, although Google already know this, but it doesn't hurt anything to connect that way either. I typically recommend, unless you just don't have a website, it's usually better for businesses to actually have a true website, even a simple WordPress-based website, as your primary shingle on the internet, and that you link your ads, your social media, and your GMB listing, the website URL, to your actual primary website, not to your GMB website. So basically, do it, keep it out there, keep it as a citation. It's okay if you want to link your website to it, but link everything else actually to your primary website. That's typically my guidance. Do you guys concur?
Yeah. Yeah, quick piece of trivia. GMB website was actually created for third world countries, also in India, because where they just didn't have a lot of websites that they were attaching to GMB. So they said, okay, well, let's make it so you can create a free one-page website.
Yep. May asks, should the info on the free GMB website mirror what's on your normal website?
Sure.
Bottom line, you really can't do that. The info on the GMB website basically mirrors what's in your GMB listing.
Right.
Hopefully the information.
There's certain areas that you can edit.
Yeah.
There are a couple. Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry. Yeah. And you can also have multiple telephone numbers on the free website too. So, so if you have more telephone numbers in your GMB listing, where you can do up to 3, then the website will display more than one number.
Hey, JB, let's get the elephant in the room out here. Let's talk about, there are some interesting folks out there who will recommend linking to the GMB website to boost your rankings of your GMB listing. Let's just get that out there. Let's talk about that. Does that work?
Yes, it does work, but it has to be consistent. So you have to be sending a lot of traffic to the GMB CID for that to actually have a benefit. So if you do just a couple, you'll see a quick pop, but it will drop off very shortly. But I mean, if you're going to be sending, paid ads and paying a bunch of people to, constantly keep, go into your GMB profile and scroll on it and do all that stuff. You could have easily used that time, energy, effort, and money to, done real marketing, an email campaign, something on social media. Like, there's so many things you could have done. But the people that are predominantly using this tactic are using the rank and rent. So it's a lot of the lead generators. So yeah, they're not going to use traditional marketing tactics because that listing is going to get found by me within a couple of weeks, or by Google or some other spam fighter, and get knocked out. So
bottom line, it's a tactic that does work, but it's like getting someone hooked on crack cocaine. You got to keep at it to keep the high.
But were you talking about the GMB website or the CID?
CID.
Because Jason was talking about CID, but I think you were talking about website.
I was talking about the GMB website. People are saying if you are constantly linking to the GMB website, it will help your actual GMB listing rank better.
I think it'll help the GMB website rank better,
which you don't necessarily want.
Right. Right. And we just had somebody come to the forum over the weekend, and he had deleted his client's free GMB website because it was outranking the regular website. And now it's a 404 error because it takes a while for Google to de-index it. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, use it for, and I was like, well, if you used it for what it was for, you wouldn't be having this issue, and you should have just kept it.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, John even asked, is there a chance that the GMB website will come up over your main site and search? In the organic section, possibly. Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, I think we go back to the basics. What should you do? Create it, and then don't waste a ton of time and effort on it. Focus instead your efforts on getting people to your own website and driving that. And that's going to give you a whole lot more benefit over time than focusing a ton of time and effort on some little, snake oil tricks. Yeah. Okay. I thought that was going to be a fast one, but it didn't turn out to be a fast one.
All right.
This is probably going to be our last question. So I'm going to throw this one out here. I apologize, guys. We have tons of questions coming in. We will try to get to as many of them as we can. I saw a flower shop has at least 4 GMB profiles at the same address for the same business, but he's using small variations in his profile name. Is that allowed? This is from Chad.
No.
And
bottom line, easy question.
Yeah, he's probably boxing himself out so that all 4 are probably not ranking, and he could be subject to an account level suspension. So report him to the redressal forum, please.
Yeah, report him and then send him to me and Jason, and we'll just kind of I don't know. I'll take a sword to him.
Yeah, he's one of his katanas back there. I think that's going to be all the time we really have for today. We have so many more questions I'd love to get to. Cindy, is there any last thing though that you'd like to throw in here? Any thoughts or the discussions we've had that kind of tie in, or what are anything more on your mind? We'll give you one more shot here to.
Yeah, I just want to encourage people to, use your data, but don't get stuck in your data. You need to look at reality too. Your data is just a map, a summary of a very large swath of reality. And you can't walk through the forest holding the map. You need to look at reality to optimize it. That's it.
Sounds good. Well, guys,
can we go longer? Do we have to cap?
You know what? We don't necessarily have to cap, but we will have to cap this for the podcast and for other things. So we could go for a few more minutes if you guys are game.
I can do a few more minutes. I have a hard stop at half after.
Is there anything that you would love to burningly talk about, Cindy?
Oh, I think I've already hogged the mic all day.
No, you haven't.
No, you haven't. Come on. You have give us what would you say your top 2 pearls of wisdom are?
Okay, top 2 pearls of wisdom are that Google says that there's no separate index for mobile and mobile first indexing, right? And soon after they really amped up the rollout of mobile first indexing, they launched a new set of schema that was all the questions, right? And they lumped them all in as speakable schema. And then everyone forgot that they were called speakable schema, and everyone's just doing how-to, FAQ, and Q&A. There's a reason they're called speakable schema. It's because Google wants to answer questions, not just in search, but in voice in the Google Home, because it's all one index. They've been very adamant that it's all one index. And so getting the speakable schema in wherever you can is a super great strategy for popping, not just in regular search and mobile search, but also in voice search. And I did see someone was asking, how do we optimize voice search? Do speakable schema, how to FAQ and Q&A, do short answers that you could imagine Google reading to you. And then we always encourage people, when you do the speakable schema, to use your heading tags. That helps Google parse the page as well. And if you're really going for the gold, or you have a really, really long page, the best way, I talk in other podcasts about fraggles, which is a fragment of text and a handle or a jump link. The best way to encourage Fraggle kinds of rankings in a search result that we've found is doing stuff like that. Fraggles are AKA passages. They didn't like my name, apparently. It's way better. But if you have a really long page, an H2 and a jump link is magic.
Sweet.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Well, guys, unfortunately, I do have to wrap this up today. Cindy, I know your time's limited here, and we got to wrap this up also for the recording. But we really do appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome back anytime, Cindy. Just let us know.
Thanks for having me.
Jason, Ben, thank you, and hope everyone watching has a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.